Tonight, just before 6, we embark on our three-part investigative series, Testing the Waters. Our report, the first of its kind in this area, takes a literal microscopic look at the ice you consume while chowing down at local restaurants. As you'll soon see, many of those seemingly pure cubes of ice are bogged down with potentially harmful bacteria. News Center 16's Kevin Lewis has been compiling this story for more than 2 months now. Joins us now with his dramatic findings, I hear.
Yeah, Mo, anyone who's ever eaten outside the comfort of their own kitchen directly impacted by this story. It began in May when News Center 16 randomly selected 18 eateries across Berrien, Elkhart, and St. Joseph counties to be tested for a variety of bacteria, including E. coli. Our results were enough to make health officials across 2 states and 3 counties cringe.
I'm walking into the men's room here at Channel 16, about to test our toilet water for bacteria. Using a 100 milliliter sample kit, I reach in, unaware that I'll soon flush away. A widespread sanitary misconception.
All right, I'll have a small sweetened iced tea.
But first, let's start.
Can I also have a cup of ice?
From the very beginning.
Thank you very much.
It was Tuesday,
Thank you.
May 15th. When News Center 16 set out to test ice at restaurants of all varieties.
Hey, can I just have a cup of ice?
We visit bars, take a gamble at a casino.
Thank you very much.
Travel through drive-thrus, fill up at all-you-can-eat buffets, and even stop by a swanky 4-star fine dining establishment.
Can I just have an iced tea and a cup of ice?
In total, we allow 18 sealed cups of ice to melt overnight in a cooler. Come morning, I use sanitizer to disinfect my hands and put on latex gloves for double protection. Only then do I begin the process of pouring each sample into an individually marked test kit, destined for Scientific Methods Laboratories, a Granger-based state and EPA-certified facility. There, microbiologist Dr. Rebecca Wong uses a sterile vacuum to deposit each sample on a membrane pad.
So after rinsing the membrane, now we can remove the membrane from the funnel.
Each membrane is then nestled into a petri dish.
Just roll it down.
Each dish tucked inside a Ziploc bag, which Dr. Wong stores in an incubator, kept at a constant 95 degrees Fahrenheit for 24 hours. In that time, we uncover results that even make our scientists uneasy.
There's absolutely something wrong. It's quite scary when I see the result.
Nationally, the EPA mandates city water to have 0 total coliform bacteria and E. coli colonies. E. coli, a microorganism found in human waste. Therefore, we were surprised to find both forms of bacteria, blue being E. coli and pink coliform, at the New Brothers Bar and Grill in South Bend.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks a lot.
According to the lab, our first visit produced 2 E. coli colonies in just 1 bar glass. Although our second visit contained no E. coli, it did identify 29 coliform bacteria.
Hi there, how you doing?
Things were only worse at Soho Japanese Bistro in Granger, where we collected 5 E. coli colonies in 1 cup. In another, 333 cases of coliform bacteria. The general manager tells us the problem is being corrected.
53 cents.
But the Steak and Shake in Benton Harbor couldn't be beat, with more than 3,000 total coliform colonies in this cup alone. As for the worst E. coli offender, the Golden Dragon restaurant in Niles, which harbored 7 E. coli colonies in 1 cup, in another, 20. Remember, E. coli is a bacteria directly connected to fecal matter.
Some employee may go to the bathroom and do not wash their hands or do not clean thoroughly. If you have a very dirty hand, 1 touch is enough to give you that number.
Don't believe us? Take a closer look at what the plain eye can't see.
Yes, a lot.
Under the microscope, hundreds of potentially sickening bacteria, not one of which should be in your ice, quite literally come to life.
You have this stuff swimming in your cup and not supposed to be there. The restaurant definitely should take some action to find out where is this contamination from.
But certain eateries can't say they haven't been warned.
Hey, how you doing?
Take, for example, CJ's Pub in downtown South Bend, where we discovered our plastic cup of ice had a total coliform number too numerous to count. A second visit just 20 days before uncovered 23 E. coli colonies. Its owner, however, told us the bacteria must have come from the distributor that supplies CJ's with ice. But, according to St. Joe County Health Department records, the long-standing establishment has been cited 3 times since 2010 for ice violations. In one case, inspectors found a mysterious liquid dripping into the customer ice bin. Another found old ice sitting at the bottom of the bar's hand-washing sink.
See if I can get an iced tea and a cup of ice water to go.
And then there's the New China Buffet on South Bend's south side, where this ice machine deposited more than 60 coliform and 3 E. coli colonies in our ice cup. Like CJ's, the buffet is no stranger to health department inspectors, with 7 ice violations in the last 5 years, in which loose algae, an unidentifiable blackened residue, and old food debris were found littered along the restaurant's ice maker. St. Joe County Health Officer Dr. Thomas Felker.
Disgusting's a good word. Everybody's kind of knows what E. coli is, and they kind of know where it comes from. So the fact that it's there would make you disgusted.
So what about that toilet water? While the sample we pulled did contain 87 coliform colonies, it detected no E. coli and was therefore cleaner than 8 of the 18 restaurants we tested. That's 44%.
Having seen the list, that I might pick and choose where I go a little differently.
It's the right of the consumer that when you walk in the restaurant, you pay for good food, you pay for good and safe food, that you want to enjoy the meal and don't go home feel uncomfortable.
Now, News Center 16 made multiple calls to Brothers Bar and Grill, the Golden Dragon Buffet, Steak and Shake Corporate Headquarters, the New China Buffet, and the Asian Grill Buffet for comment. However, as of this story's airing, not one of those facilities has accepted our offer. Interestingly enough, though, only 4 of the 18 restaurants we randomly tested had absolutely no trace of bacteria, and we are talking about 0. That A list includes Clementine's 2 in St. Joseph, Long John Silver's in Niles, LaSalle Grill in South Bend, and Taco Bell on McKinley Avenue in Mishawaka. On Thursday, we will showcase what these local eateries are doing right. But first, tomorrow, we share our findings with the poorest performers, their response to the community, plus how this bacteria could, and that is the key word there, could impact you and your family's health. That is all tomorrow night, just before 6. Mel.
Wow, eye-opening, not pleasant to think about at dinner time. So do local health departments test ice at these dining establishments?
They do visual inspections, but like we saw in the story here, this bacteria can't be detected by the plain eye. Health officers say testing every restaurant, though, multiple times a year would be a budgetary nightmare. But until something is altered here, this problem really is going to remain paramount. Now, we also want to point out that our complete test results of all 18 restaurants, plus health inspection reports of the 7 that we just mentioned in that story, can be found online. To get there, just go to our website and click on this story.
All right, Kevin, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back. Tonight, just before 6, we continue to share the findings of our 3-part investigative series, Testing the Waters. Last night, we took you undercover as News Center 16 collected ice from 18 local restaurants. That ice was taken to a state and EPA-certified lab, which found the vast majority of samples contained high levels of coliform bacteria and E. coli, neither of which should be swimming in your ice. News Center 16's Kevin Lewis took our results to the poorest performers. So, Kevin, what did restaurant managers have to say about these findings?
You know, Mo, it really varied from location to location, but there was one similarity. Not one of these restaurants knew it was serving customers dirty ice. Now, fact is, bacteria is invisible to the plain eye, meaning it is crucial for restaurants to have proper sanitary procedures in place. Unfortunately, though, it has taken this report for certain eateries to clean up their act.
Sure, why not? Take care. Thank you so much.
Whether fast food, bar food,
Let's have an iced tea and a cup of ice.
or fine dining at its best, everyone has, at some point, consumed ice outside their own kitchen. That's why you should take a close look at this tray of bacteria, grown from restaurant ice in our area. The visual just might send a chill down your spine.
It's an issue. It indicates that you have some kind of contamination. You want to know the source. Where's the contamination come from?
With our laboratory results in hand, News Center 16 traveled to 5 facilities that served us filthy ice, hoping to melt away future contamination. Our first stop was the Golden Dragon Buffet on South 11th Street in Niles.
My name's Kevin Lewis. I'm with WNDU TV.
It was here on 2 separate occasions that the all-you-can-eat diner served us ice with more than you can handle E. coli.
Does it disturb you knowing that there's fecal matter?
Very disturbing. We don't know what's going on.
What do you say to customers, that see these numbers? What do you say to make them feel better about coming to your facility in the future?
But instead of addressing the cold hard truth, the manager simply shook her head and locked herself in the kitchen.
Ma'am? The whole reason we're here, we want to be able to give you guys the option to talk with us.
Refusing to talk or show us what the freezer looked like.
Do you mind showing us the kitchen and how you guys...
No.
We learned very little about the buffet's contamination source. Next was the Asian Grill Buffet in Benton Harbor.
Your guys' facility came back with bacteria, E. coli, coliform bacteria, on 2 different occasions here.
With no English-speaking supervisor on duty, the hostess called on a former manager.
Of course, E. coli is fecal matter, and just trying to figure out exactly how that's ending up in the ice customers are consuming.
Her response? An independent test would be performed. Despite multiple follow-up calls, we've yet to see those results or speak to a real manager.
Hey there, how you doing?
We heard a similar response from Brothers Bar and Grill, where only weeks before a bartender served us ice with 2 shots of E. coli.
Can you guys make any comments, or is that something that would have to come from the general manager?
Yeah, I can't make any comments on camera.
In a statement released to News Center 16, company's COO, Scott Severson, said, quote, "Our operational procedures not only meet, but exceed any and all laws, codes, and regulations," and added, "We've never had a confirmed case of a foodborne illness in the 22 years we've been in business, which spans across 19 locations and 10 states. Even so, our investigation did prompt management to hire its own lab. Those results showed no bacteria.
I'm a reporter with WNDU.
Soho Japanese Bistro in Granger was also quick to comment, promising to immediately correct whatever caused 5 E. coli colonies to appear in one single cup of ice. And then there's CJ's Pub in downtown South Bend. You can't tell by staring at it, but the cup of ice bartenders handed us had 23 E. coli colonies festering within.
Does that surprise you, or?
Yeah, it surprises me a lot. I don't know how that could be.
Do you
Like you
guys?
said, something. I mean, maybe something may fall in there or something. But that's true of any restaurant or any bar with an ice bin.
In a phone call later that day, co-owner Cindy Medic blamed the E. coli we found on the distributor that provides her bar with all of its ice. While that may be the case, as we reported in Part 1, the health department has cited CJ's with multiple ice violations. One report details a mysterious liquid found dripping into the customer ice bin. Although the FDA does regulate and test commercial ice bagging facilities, we were surprised to learn not one government agency oversees the microbiology of ice served in restaurants, gas stations, and bars. But why? Health officials say it all boils down to the bottom line.
You would be looking at an incredible expense if this were suddenly added, to the inspection list.
Meaning cash-strapped county health departments across Indiana and Michigan are forced to make visual inspections, a formality we discovered does little good.
You're not going to see anything. You might smell something, but as far as seeing it, these are microscopic. I mean, these are tiny, tiny.
For example, nothing about the ice pouring out of this soda machine appears questionable. That is until you place a 1 milliliter sample under a scientific microscope, and voila, E. coli can be found stirring like a school of fish in water.
There's absolutely something wrong. The E. coli absolutely should not be there, not even one. Not a single one, not a single E. coli should be in your drinking water.
And that's what's interesting. While ice is seemingly unregulated, its liquid state is heavily controlled, with EPA mandating all city water to contain 0 total coliform or E. coli colonies at all times.
In fact, if any of South Bend's 3 water filtration plants detected just 1 E. coli colony within its system,
the city would legally be required to issue a boil order for the 120,000 residents it serves. And that's the double standard, as the dirtiest ice we tested had E. coli more than 5 times this nation's boil order threshold.
That not only tell me the ice is contaminated, but I also worry about what do they do in their routine? Is their meat, is their bun clean? So it's kind of initiate a lot of scary thoughts.
Food for thought that next time may make you say, hold the ice.
now, according to health department officials, the likelihood of getting ill from the levels and forms of E. coli and coliform bacteria we found are minimal. That said, children under the age of 5, the elderly, and people with weakened immune systems are more susceptible. All in all, health advocates say our findings should serve more as a yuck factor than a true health risk for consumers. Mel.
Yeah, something you don't want to think about, but oh well, it's there. And because of the time, we can only highlight a handful of restaurants. But the overall response from management has been good.
It really has, and the whole purpose of this story is just to make restaurant owners and homeowners as well more cognizant of the proper ways to handle ice. Now, tomorrow night, we're going to sit down with LaSalle Grill and Long John Silver's. They are 2 of the restaurants that scored perfectly in our study. They'll explain the painstaking process their staffs go through every single day to ensure their ice is unquestionably pure. Again, the conclusion to our series, Testing the Water, is going to air tomorrow night just before 6.
Okay, I'll be there watching.
Yeah, we'll see you.
And we'll have a final check of the weather after the break. Tonight, just before 6, we conclude our 3-part investigative series, Testing the Waters. Over the last 2 days, News Center 16 uncovered more than a dozen area restaurants that had total coliform bacteria and in some cases even E. coli swimming in their ice. Our investigation promoted many restaurants to scrub down their ice makers and ice bins, plus revisit employee sanitation policies. But tonight's report is dedicated to the best performers, 4 restaurants that had absolutely no trace of bacteria found during our test, and we mean 0. The A list includes Clementine's 2 in St. Joseph, Long John Silver's in Niles, LaSalle Grill in South Bend, and Taco Bell on West McKinley Avenue in South Bend. And News Center 16's Kevin Lewis spoke to management at 2 of those dining establishments. So what are these guys doing right?
You know, for one, routinely washing their hands, but it takes a whole lot more, Mo, to make sure that ice in your cup is really as pure as it looks. Now, the advice we're about to dish out is not just for restaurant employees, but homeowners as well. We hope this information will better keep you and your family safe.
If you've been following our series, Testing the Waters, you may forever say, hold the ice. But management at LaSalle Grill asks newborn skeptics to freeze their opinion, if only for a minute.
The results are why we are the area's best restaurant.
You see, while most restaurant ice contained high levels of bacteria like E. coli.
Can I just have an iced tea and a cup of ice?
LaSalle Grill's 100 milliliter sample came back clear as, well, ice itself.
We walk the talk, so to say. We have very stringent standards. We have a set of values and mores that we operate our business by, and included in that is the basic standards of foods, sanitation, and safety.
Those hygienics begin with the ice maker, which LaSalle Grill delimes, services, and sanitizes at least 4 times a year. Also crucial, keeping ice scoops and sanitized bins free from bacteria lingering on countertops.
And you can either use stainless steel or plastic, but you're not supposed to leave them within the ice.
The AAA 4-diamond accredited eatery also requires every cook, bartender, and manager undergo food safety training via ServSafe, a sanitation education company.
And good business sense dictates that you take all the necessary precautions and maybe even a little bit extra, you know, in order to prevent any chance of that ever happening.
From fine wine to fast dine, that mantra is also true at the Long John Silver's, along South 11th Street in Niles.
Yeah, a lot of people think fast food is dirty when actually it's just fast-paced.
Like LaSalle Grill, the seafood chain also vigorously maintains its stainless steel ice maker, draining and cleaning it once a month.
You can use that, you fill your bucket.
Every day, employees use sanitized buckets to transport cubes from the ice maker to sealed ice bins up front.
When you get an order, you'd go ahead and open that up, grab your ice scoop, take your scoop of ice, fill your cup, and that's all there is to it. You return your scoop back to your holder. These, of course, just like in the back, are wash, rinse, and sanitize nightly.
That step-by-step process is ingrained in every employee. A chart in the kitchen keeps track of their progress, so no store gets scooped.
They look to see that you set that standard all year round, and that's what you do to prevent, as little contamination as possible.
It's part of what you should be doing. If you don't do it, your reputation could be ruined, you're out of business. That would just be ruinous.
Now, in case you're wondering, the testing we conducted cost about $60 per facility because health departments across Indiana and Michigan don't perform that level of analysis. Microbiologists recommend every restaurant hire a lab to test its facilities once to twice a year, all to ensure the ice they are serving customers is perfectly clean. No.
Yeah, and it's only $60 a test.
Right, so we're going to be talking $120, $180 per restaurant. Small numbers all in all.
Okay, and something to think about. I understand we have many of the same problems in our ice bins at home.
Yeah, we sure do. Actually, after getting the first round of results, one of the first things I did is took the ice bin from my freezer at home, dumped out all the ice, sanitized the bin, committed to doing that once every 3 months from now on to reduce the spread of bacteria. Now, some other tips we want to pass along to viewers at home tonight. First and foremost, avoid touching ice with dirty hands or using a cup to scoop ice. Those are big no-nos. You should also handle ice with clean, non-breakable utensils such as tongs or an ice scoop. Also, empty and sanitize your ice bins on a quarterly basis. Long John Silver's uses a chlorine-based sanitizer. They say it works very well. And if money allows, consider purchasing a freezer with one of those hands-free ice dispensers. Obviously, that's a costly venture, but it really does help eliminate the spread of bacteria in your home.
I know what I'll be washing out tonight.
I know. We'll all be doing a little washing tonight after work.
All right. Good job, Kevin. Thanks. And we'll be right back.